Hello, you're with BBC News, live from London. A historic day as Finland is to become the 31st member of NATO, a decision prompted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Former US President Donald Trump is in New York to face criminal charges in court. TikTok is fined over £12 million for failing to protect the privacy of children in the UK. Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm Maryam Moshiri. Finland will become the 31st member of NATO in a ceremony in Brussels in the next hour. The application to join the Western military alliance was prompted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Well, in response, Moscow says the Finland-NATO alliance increases the risk of conflict and that it will strengthen its military presence in the region. The head of the military alliance, Jens Stoltenberg, is calling Finland's accession a historic moment. Here's what he said earlier. Now, footage has been shared by Chester Zoo, capturing the moment its Sumatran tiger cubs take first adventure out of their den. Here they are, their twins Alif and Rhea, and they're playing together. How sweet. The pair, who are just 2 months old, were spotted enjoying what one could call a bit of rough and tumble under the watchful eye of their mum, Kasana. Very cute. That's in Chester Zoo. Stay with us here on BBC News. Plenty more to come from me and the team, so don't go anywhere.
Want to understand what the news means for you? BBC News Catch Up on Sounds is a new playlist that puts you in control and lets you explore the stories you're interested in. From breaking headlines...
There's been a wave of missile strikes across Ukraine.
...to deep dive podcasts and current analysis.
The longer the conflict goes on, the more chance there is just something happening that leads to an escalation.
Make sense of the stories you care about whenever suits you. Open the BBC Sounds app, tap podcasts for News Catch Up.
This is BBC News, the latest headlines. Finland is set to become the 31st member of NATO in a ceremony due to be held in Brussels today. Former US President Donald Trump is in New York to face criminal charges in court. The British government says funding for the social care workforce in England has been halved. And TikTok is fined over £12 million for failing to protect the privacy of children in the UK. The British government has confirmed funding promised to develop the social care workforce in England has been halved. In 2021, the government promised at least £500 million for reforms. That money was to be spent on training places and technology over 3 years. And what do New Yorkers think about this? Let's take you live now to what's happening in New York right now. As always, here on BBC News, we take you to where the story is. And the story today very much is following the former President Donald Trump, who is going to be appearing before a Manhattan court. It's the first time a US president will appear in court charged with a criminal offence. And we're going to be across the story live here on BBC News throughout the day. So do stay with us. Plenty more to come from me and the team. Bye-bye for now. Live from London, this is BBC News. A historic day as Finland is set to become the 31st member of NATO, a decision prompted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Donald Trump is in New York at Trump Tower ahead of his appearance in court, facing criminal charges. Well, this is the scene live in Manhattan where security is high for one of the biggest stories of the year. Other news, TikTok is fined over £12 million for failing to protect the privacy of children in the UK. Hello and a very warm welcome. A ceremony is due to be held in Brussels in just over an hour's time to officially welcome NATO's newest member. Finland has abandoned its long-standing commitment to neutrality in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Before we go, let's take you live on BBC News to the scene in New York. This is Trump Tower. You can see in the background the huge building where currently former President Donald Trump is, is he waking up? Has he woken up? Is he having breakfast? Talking to his lawyers, his friends, his family? Who knows? What we do know, though, is that later on today, the former president will be appearing in front of a Manhattan court in Lower Manhattan. All the US TV networks were the former president to turn the TV on. I'm sure he'll be watching the BBC, but if he decided to watch a rival network, he'd see that his story is front and centre of all the TV networks and the US media, because he is effectively the first US president to face criminal charges in history. And that is why we are following this story so closely here on BBC News. As always, stay in touch on the website. It's bbc.co.uk/news. But better than that, stay with me. I'm back in a few minutes. This is BBC News, the latest headlines. A historic day for Finland as it's set to become the 31st member of NATO, a decision prompted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Former US President Donald Trump is in New York to face criminal charges in court. Well, this is the scene live in Manhattan where security is high for one of the biggest stories of the year. TikTok is fined over £12 million for failing to protect the privacy of children in the UK. A ceremony is due to be held in Brussels in an hour's time to officially welcome NATO's newest member. Finland has abandoned its long-standing commitment to neutrality in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The head of the military alliance, Jens Stoltenberg, said it was a historic day. The UN Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, said it was one thing NATO could thank Vladimir Putin for. The Kremlin said Russia would be forced to take countermeasures, but gave no details. A ceremony is due to be held in the next hour, officially welcoming NATO as the newest member. I think we can now go to our defence reporter, Jonathan Beale, and we will bring you that live here on BBC News shortly. Don't go anywhere. You're live with BBC News. Finland formally joins NATO, officially becoming the 31st member of the military alliance.
With receipt of this instrument of accession, we can now declare that Finland is the 31st member of the North Atlantic Treaty.
Former US President Donald Trump is in New York to face criminal charges relating to alleged hush money paid to a former porn star. This is the scene live in Manhattan where security is high for one of the biggest stories of the year. TikTok is fined over £12 million for failing to protect the privacy of children in the UK. Hello and welcome. Let's cross live to Brussels now. Finland has just become the 31st member of NATO, and NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg is giving a press conference. Let's have a listen.
Sweden as soon as possible.
Neda Tawfiq, BBC News, New York.
TikTok is fined over £12 million for failing to protect the privacy of children in the UK. And the space dream comes back down to Earth. Richard Branson's Virgin Orbit files for bankruptcy. Hello, welcome along a little later than billed. This is World Business Report. I'm Ben Thompson. And we're going to start with that news that TikTok has been fined for £12.7 million by the UK data watchdog for failing to protect the privacy of children. An investigation found that the video sharing app used the data of children under the age of 13 without their parents' consent. Now, it is estimated that TikTok allowed up to 1.4 million UK children of this age to use the platform in 2020. Now, in a statement, the UK Information Commissioner that was behind this investigation said there are laws in place to make sure our children are as safe in the digital world as they are in the physical world. TikTok did not abide by those laws. Well, let's speak to the independent researcher, Dr. Stephanie Hare, who is with us. Thank you for joining us, and talk to me about what's accused here, because it's quite a serious allegation. Stephanie, it's really good to talk to you. Thank you for being with us on the programme on World Business Report. Stephanie Hare there. Now, I just want to tell you about US and EU officials that are meeting today to discuss energy cooperation. The focus of that, well, according to the US, is joint efforts to blunt Russia's attempts to weaponise energy and bolster energy supplies for coming winters. Now, this comes as EU member states consider extending restrictions or even outright banning Russian natural gas imports. Now, we'd love to talk some more about that, but I'm going to hand you back to Maryam.
Ben, thank you very much. Let's take you live to Brussels now. And this is the flag-raising ceremony that we've been waiting for here on BBC News. Officially, Finland is a NATO member, but this is the symbolic ceremony that was due to happen shortly afterwards. The president of Finland, Niinistö, is there, and there you can see Jens Stoltenberg. I think we can have a listen to what he's saying. Let's have a listen to the chief of NATO. My colleague, Matthew Ormolawala, will be here in just a few minutes, bringing you all the very latest. You're watching BBC News. Do go to our website, as always, if you want even more information on all the stories you've been watching here on the BBC. It's bbc.co.uk/news. But from me and the team here in London, thank you for your company. Thanks for watching, and stay with us on the BBC.